Well,
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, you know who it is. It's your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And today is the second episode of this great show that we call the Roundtable. And guys, I'm with two amazing people.
so kind.
Nick Rosario, Delilah, yo. What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
What's
Good
up?
evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, you see me.
I think you're on the coffee again or something. You're on the caffeine because you're charged over there.
I'm ready to go. Hey, once the camera goes on, hey,
I'm with you.
Let's go.
Hey, I'm here, man. Let's do this. Delilah's got her headset. She's ready.
I'm ready.
Right? She's good to go.
Stepping this game
Got
up.
a little decoration behind her. I don't know what that is. I don't know. But
It's a mirror.
Right?
It's a fancy mirror.
It's a fancy mirror.
Yo, I think my mom had one of those. I like that.
Now I feel naked behind me because I got nothing.
Right? Hey, I got a corner in the wall.
Right, like I got a white wall. Like, what's that about? Anyway.
Yo, we are here to give you, if you haven't seen us yet, we are here with the Roundtable as an extension of Let's Talk Football. We're basically just here to talk about news and notes concerning the offseason. Everything that's key, everything that's new, the updates, all the crazy trades. And I mean, I'm going to dive right in. Speaking of trades, we just heard Matthew Stafford, the first domino, as Brandon Davis from Let's Talk Football said, first domino to fall in this, and he got traded to the Rams. Guys, wow.
Yes. Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it?
Wow.
I like it. I actually do like it.
Here's why, too. Number one pick for a number one pick. Like,
yes.
I don't love the dynamic there of like, that doesn't happen. And I believe it's never happened.
Right.
To my understanding, you got a number one pick traded for another number one pick.
Yeah.
And that in itself that's historic.
I agree.
Like that doesn't happen. And I think the greatness of it, when you think about the deal itself, which we'll run it down real quick for those who don't know. Obviously, the Lions get now Jared Goff, and they also get a first round in 22, 23, and a third rounder this year in the 21 draft.
Yes.
So you got 3 picks in a quarterback for a quarterback. Now, here to me is the great thing about this deal in a sense of what the Rams were actually able to pull off. Because, and for some reason, this seems to be their pattern as of late. Follow me here. They just signed Goff, was it 2 years ago, to that $134 million last year, that $134 million deal.
Right.
And now you've managed to trade that away and get you what basically is an upgraded quarterback.
Yeah.
And you got rid of this huge contract.
Yeah, you did.
If you think about it, they did that one or 2 years before. They signed Tom Gurley to this huge contract.
Oh, that's right, Gurley.
Wait a minute. What? Now think about this. Not only did they do that, do you know that they have been without a number one pick since 2017? They're not going to have another one because now they've
until 2024.
Yeah, 7 seasons. Yeah. They're not going to have a number one pick in this draft yet. With Stafford at quarterback, now you have the potential.
Definitely potential.
I know everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, are you saying?" I'm not prognosticating.
Potential.
I'm saying you have the potential to be a Super Bowl quality team.
Yeah.
Without a number one pick in 7 years. Try that. Like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's managing this team?
Everybody was so like, like Detroit won, and I said, wait a minute. Like, I think that it's the curse of being on a shitty team for too long, right? We know that it's happened. And it's true though, right? We know that.
I'm with you.
So what happened is, if you look at Matthew Stafford's numbers outside of whatever, for the past decade, he was on Detroit. He took them to 3 playoffs. And I think that people forget that. And He didn't win, but to be fair to him, they didn't give him anything but Megatron one time, right? That one time he had Megatron, and
all that, and it didn't go well.
Right, and so again, still took him to 3 playoffs, right? And you can't. It's the curse of Barry Sanders. I don't know if people are aware if the Lions curse.
Good old Barry.
Quits very early.
Barry Sanders.
The first playoff round, they actually went past the first round and then lost every time they went since. They lost in the first round. So I don't know if you guys know that.
I mean,
but anyway, so basically, Stafford has a chance. Like, I don't know if it's going to pan out or not, but he finally has a chance to prove himself, to show that his numbers, if you look at his numbers, are actually pretty darn good, and take it to a team that's built for him already. Like Nick brought up, he has like Akers, right? He has Cup, like, and they didn't.
Akers, Henderson, Cooper Kupp, Robert Evans,
trade them away.
Receiver Henderson, like, you got everybody.
Think about that. The Rams didn't have to do anything with their offense. They get to keep the same explosive dudes.
Yes.
They add a quarterback that actually has good numbers. And they have one of the best defense in the NFL. So they didn't have to do anything with the defense.
So I guess my next question, I mean, inevitably has to be, does this trade make the Rams an instant contender?
I think they'll make a good run. I think they'll make a good run.
This year, right?
They did.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. They were right. They were close. They were in that game against the Packers. Game. Right. They were very in that game. They were 7 points away in the third quarter. And then all of a sudden the Packers pulled away or whatever because
exactly.
was hurt.
Now, when you say instant contender, though, I think that a lot of people get confused by that. Because does that mean instant contender for the Super Bowl? Instant contender for that division title?
Yeah. That's true.
For that conference title?
Good point.
Instant contender for what? Now,
I mean favorites. I mean favorites to favorites in the NFC. Maybe not to win it all, but
I think you have to push them a little bit further ahead now. Certainly.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the teams that were at the top this year, right? The number 1 seed was Green Bay.
Yep.
The number 2 seed was Seattle. Was it
Saints?
Oh, it was the Saints. Sorry, right. And then Seattle was 3. Sorry, Seattle was 3. So you look at those teams now. Let's just take the top 3 for this argument. Would you say that with Seattle getting a year older, you still have Russell Wilson, you still have DK Metcalf, you still have Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
Right.
So your offense is still pretty good.
Yeah.
Defense could probably use a little work, but at the same time, you've still got your offense. Russell Wilson's a quality guy. Now you look at that and go, well, do you equate Matthew Stafford now on the Rams, and do you put him on that level of being able to compete with the Seahawks? I would say at this point, we don't know because we haven't seen Stafford take the field. With
Exactly.
So right now, you kind of got to leave Seattle where they are.
You do.
Let's go with the Saints. Breeze is no longer going to be the quarterback in New Orleans. So now you have a question mark at number 2 because are you staying with Jameis and Taysom Hill? Are you going after a quarterback now that you see how these dominoes are starting to fall?
Right.
You know, do they even entertain the thought of getting in the Deshaun Watson lottery like everybody else is?
Right.
So there's a lot of questions for New Orleans. So I would say right now, the Rams are just as good, if not better, than New Orleans at this point.
Right.
What they have and what we have going forward.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Green Bay, let's take the Packers. A lot of people, because of the disgruntled post-game tirade of one Aaron Rodgers.
He was just upset.
Right. And that's my thing. I think Aaron
definitely looked into it. I was like, really?
He was very emotional that he lost at home. Like he really took that long hard. Not going forward on the 4th down probably really made him mad.
Yeah.
Like, come on, coach, I can do that, So I still think, just saying, like, give that defense, because they're a younger defense. Give that defense another year to get better.
Yeah.
And you have, I don't know, 3 running backs.
For real.
He's from Boston College. I don't know why I always forget his name. But
Dylan,
thank you.
Yeah.
But you got three running backs that are fairly solid, and because Dylan came on in the year and seemed like he played pretty well. You have the number 1 receiver in Devontae Adams still, and if you look at his supporting guys, that the Valdez Scantling kid played pretty well this year.
Yep.
So did Alan Lazard when he wasn't hurt.
Yes,
So
that's
you've
true.
still got Aaron Rodgers with a lot of weapons.
Right.
Yeah,
For me, you still got to say that Green Bay is one of the teams to beat still if they can get it
100%.
together, get
Absolutely.
themselves back, erase the loss from last year and just move forward.
I believe it.
Green Bay is still very tough.
100.
Obviously Tampa Bay is there too, but again, Mr. Brady, depending on what he does this year, and win the Super Bowl, and I have them winning, as you know, but depending on what Tampa Bay does. So, I mean, if the Rams are going to be an elite team and they're going to be like instant contenders, like you say, these are the things they have to deal with now in the NFC. So I'm on a wait and see mode with Stafford. I want to see how he comes in with the offense, see how he picks it up, how quick he picks it up. Does he get the schemes? Does he get what's going on? Can these guys be that explosive offense that they have the potential to beat?
I think they have potential, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think they have potential 100%. That's why I'm like, every time people are like, and I said, listen, we really need to like back up a little bit. Like, do I think they probably overpaid a little bit? I mean, it depends on what if it pans out, right? Then we'll really know if they overpaid or not.
Right.
We have to allow, as Nick is saying, for that team to play a season together, right? We have to see if Stafford can actually go in there and connect with these players. I think that they have a pretty good chance to at least make it to the playoffs again. Like, I think they have a pretty good run for that. They proved that they could with Goff, right? Let's see if they could do it with Stafford. Maybe, like Kat said, and I don't think it'll go to the Super Bowl, but, maybe they'll go further. Maybe they'll get past the first round for the, So I think that people shut down the whole Stafford thing and didn't really look at his numbers. They really didn't look at like how well he actually played in Detroit in a really, really crappy division, to be honest, except for like Packers. It's like
right.
And so I think that this is Stafford's chance to shine, and we'll see if it's a bust or not. Now, Detroit is another thing. They have a history of not taking advantage of good players, right? Like I've told people, I'm like, they had one of the best running backs in NFL history and didn't go to the Super Bowl with them, okay? Like,
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe they have a new coach though this season, a new coach and new general manager at the same time. So,
but
going into that,
is it the same old Lions? Is it the same old Lions?
But I mean, I don't know. Are they I don't know the last time that they went into the draft with two new key positions in management. I didn't really look that up, but it is a new head coach and a new general manager making the picks this time.
Right.
And a new head coach and a new manager, like, bringing Goff into this Detroit system. So, it depends what they do with these draft picks, right? What are they going to do with this chance? And, can they be successful? I mean, I'm not going to lie, to have Goff and Rodgers in the same division makes me nervous as a Bears fan. It's like,
right. Getting those first round picks for the next 2 years from, in this deal, you've got a 26-year-old quarterback. Like Jared Goff,
he's young.
You have an opportunity here to really build.
Absolutely.
I know you had that with Stafford when he came up, but then Sanders retires, all that
it's
stuff.
A new year though, it's new. New
so
era.
Retire early when they play for Detroit. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. But I mean, the Lions really have an opportunity.
They
here.
do 100%.
To really turn this franchise around.
Yep.
You've got your franchise quarterback as well. You got a 26-year-old Jared Goff who can play. Okay, I know people will criticize every different aspects of his game, but the kid can play.
He can play.
He can get out of the pocket and throw. Like Jared Goff will be okay, I believe. But now's your chance now with these first rounders.
Yeah.
And then the third rounder this year. Pick up some extra, protection. Pick up some line help. You pick up maybe another. You can pick up another offensive weapon. Maybe get a receiver in the draft.
Yes.
You get some defensive secondary help. You can really help yourself in this draft and next year's draft. I think the Lions actually are going to be okay. For all my Detroit Lions buddies,
that's what I said.
Cat's happy about it.
Your way, my friends, because you might actually be able to get over that proverbial hump and maybe win a playoff game in the next couple of years.
Look at it.
Look forward to
We've seen it with other teams, that it's a new era, right? We saw Washington, right? Make it pretty far. We saw Cleveland, Buffalo. I mean, think about that. Buffalo and Cleveland, right? Like they, and so it is possible 100% for the Lions to be one of the next football teams to switch it around and all of a sudden be kicking butt, next couple of seasons. So we just got to see if, new general manager.
You have to take it.
Yeah. So let's see. Maybe they can make something happen.
And there's nothing we could this is going to be with the way that the picks are stretched out.
Yeah.
This is going to be something that we're going to have to monitor in the next couple of years to see if they get those right picks. You know what I mean? Because since they have won the first round next year and the first round the following year, and we also got to remember if the Rams are what they're look like they're going to be, which is pretty decent, those picks are going to be higher picks.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? These are not going to be picks in the top 5 or something like that. These are going to be picks.
And that's what you have to be wary of too. This is where the management part of it comes in.
Right.
Let's say the Rams do well and they've got, the 24th, 25th pick, 26th pick. So you got your pick, whatever your pick is in the first round, plus another one later on in the first round, as it would appear, because if the Rams are doing well, they're going to finish in the top, in the upper. So it's hard, what you get. And the thing is, to think about it. Depending on what the Rams do and where these picks fall, the Lions can always find a way to repackage that and be like, well, I've got the 26th pick here. I'll give you this for that. I'll give you this. So that's why I say it'd be interesting to see what management does in the next few years with these picks.
Yeah, Lions have a chance.
The Lions a better football team. That's all.
Right. They have a chance, but again, I don't think you can answer this question: who won the trade? Because it's not something. Yeah, it's not something that's going to happen overnight. I think this trade requires some time to actually see the next couple of years to see how it plays out, see what they do.
But to satisfy all those thirsty, hungry people who want to know who won this trade, because there are people out there going, "Oh, come on, answer the question."
Right.
Right now, on February 1st, 2021.
Yes.
Knowing what we know now, I think you would have to say that the Rams won this trade.
That's what I said.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Because you're putting Matthew Stafford into a system that I think he could really do well in. Mm-hmm. And you already have a playoff team in the Rams.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think for right now, even though you gave up what you gave up to get him, on this day, I would say that the Rams won the trade. That's just my humble opinion.
That has been my argument too. I'm like, for right now, it looks like they made a good deal. Like, say what you say. They were aggressive. Let me tell you.
They also dumped $134 million.
Yeah, they did dump a lot of money.
In the contract with Jared Goff. So how is that not a win in itself?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got rid of $134 million.
Which allowed them to retain their offensive weapons, right? They get to keep those guys, and now they get to see.
Right? That's a good offense. You keep those guys together.
So I guess we'll see. But right now, I agree with Nick. As of right now, Rams won this part. Now we'll see if it pans out.
Now, honestly, straight off the top of my head, I completely agree. Right, and that's how I saw from the first glance at this. I will say, though, now looking back at it with the King's ransom that the Lions got, the only reason I'm still going to agree, but the only reason I'm going to agree is because it is the Lions. And they have a history. I mean, you guys know it. Kat will tell you. The Lions have a history of botching these things.
They do, though.
So I have to stick with the Rams on that.
I'm with you.
But, I mean, that King's ransom is still really not. I mean, I would love to have that in Washington. But it's like you said, Nick, it's all about management.
It's all about management.
It's all about how you manage it. Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was hot. And we have to segue into this next topic because it directly affects it. Now that you have this first key move, this key blockbuster trade,
one for one
that shocked us all. And shout out to Delilah who was talking about it, put it up, and then sat there and started a conversation with one of our guys, resident Saints insider Brandon Davis. And what was he saying, Delilah? He was saying that was it. This was the first pick. This was the domino. And I'm so excited to see. And this next person is going to directly benefit from this. So we have to talk about the Deshaun Watson wanting out of Houston.
Oh, Deshaun wants to go.
Deshaun, guys, go into this because now that you see what Stafford got, and I think we can all agree Deshaun right now is head and shoulders above Stafford.
100%. I'm not even going to argue that.
You're talking about a 25-year-old kid in his prime versus a 30-year-old man who's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah, of course.
At this moment, you would have to say Deshaun Watson has the advantage in that.
Of course.
Exactly. Right. Thank you, Nick.
Sure. That we can agree on. That's easy. That's easy.
See that? That's what I need. I need that.
I will tell you this, though, and this is it. Coming out of this was I was reading this earlier. And this is straight from the Texans beat writer for the Houston Chronicle.
Okay.
Houston Chronicle. He was saying that Houston is looking to ask possibly for 2 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, and 2 defensive starters.
I did see that.
Yeah, so that's a big ask, honestly, for any team. If you're going to give them 2 first, 2 second, and 2 defensive starters, for Deshaun Watson, you got to think about that. Here's my thing with that. I understand what you're getting in Deshaun Watson. You do. 25 years old. The kid's a 3-time Pro Bowler already. This guy, he's got all the tools, man. He does. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did get hurt in college. He got hurt in the pros once. He's had the knee problem, but he seems to be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? It seems to have turned the corner with that. The injuries I don't think are going to hamper him going forward.
Right.
But. In saying that, because of what happened, like you said, with this first domino falling now and you're getting the 1 for the 1, I think you have to come up with something very similar in that respect for this trade to really go off. And this is why a lot of people say, well, this team is interested, but there's really only, and a lot of the experts have been talking about it. And just from what I've read and looked at, I tend to agree with them. The Jets and the Dolphins seem like the likely 2 to make this happen.
I've been seeing the same thing.
You've got quarterbacks you can trade 1 for 1. Tua for Watson. You could do Watson for Sam Darnold, and plus picks and all that other
picks.
Stuff.
Right? Yeah, you need extra.
So, you can't just do the 1 for 1. Obviously, you're going to get picks. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. But apparently, because of the coach as well, the Jets just hired Robert Saleh.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, and Deshaun is a big fan of his.
Yes. He is.
So I really think the Jets, if they can put together a nice little package here, they could pull this off.
Yeah.
And here's why also I like. Well, I do and I don't, because I'm not as big a Sam Darnold hater as some people are, and I think the kid actually has some talent and can do well.
Yeah.
But I don't know if sending him to Houston does him any favors. Even though, you know what I'm saying? Because he'd have to be part of the trade. Let's just be honest. He'd have to be part of the trade.
He would have to. Yeah.
He would.
So,
he would.
As much as this is a great thing for Deshaun possibly in the Jets, you feel bad for Sam Darnold going, well, now you got to go to Houston. Sorry, Sam.
So,
it's just one of those things where you go, one guy it could be elated and the other guy could get screwed really badly.
Right.
So how do you justify it? But that's the NFL, my friend.
That's how it goes sometimes.
So, I think, like I said, with the Jets having all those picks and Tua, you could do that package where you send Tua to the Houston. Deshaun goes to a pretty much, again, a ready-made team.
It is ready.
In a lot of ways. And you add Deshaun to the Dolphins, you're going, hey, wait a minute. And I know one of your boys, Sean Spencer, Fitzmagic. You're pretty Fitzmagic.
Yeah. Yes.
He may have to go somewhere else because obviously unless he's okay. Now, mind you, because it could be. Here's a guy who's later on in his career. He's made his money. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
For being a guy who's never won a lot, he's gotten some good contracts in his life. He's made
yes.
Where you go, you know what? I'd like to win at this point. Maybe I just want to win. So I'm willing to back up, a Deshaun Watson here in Miami so we can try to get us a ring. That's at this point in his career. What else would you want to do?
Right.
Yeah, you want to play and all this and this and that, but you're the older guy now. Right. You're the older statesman. You've made your money.
Right.
Let's see what you can do mentoring a young guy who's already been in the league a few years. But, so to me, there's so many elements to all these deals, and everybody like, well, who's going to get this? You're going to get this. You're going to get that. But you have to look at all this stuff. You have to look at all of it, see what parts fit, see what parts don't fit.
Yes.
And that's why I say when you look at other teams and what they may have to offer, just the Jets and the Dolphins are the most attractive in terms of what they can give you for Deshaun in return.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I agree with, the experts, as it were.
I've been looking at the same experts say the same thing.
That's like the two most likely places at this point.
Yeah, because like everyone else would literally have to destroy their whole team. Like, and I just don't. I don't see many who are willing to do that, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want them to. Like, it's. I know that Deshaun is fantastic, but do you like get rid of everyone that he actually needs to be fantastic? Like,
right.
It defeats the purpose. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like. It's just gonna be him alone again. It's literally gonna be the situation is in Houston in a different place.
Somebody says, right? The Bears got to go after Deshaun. Bears got to go after Deshaun. Think about what the Bears. Think about it. What the Bears would have to give up for Deshaun. For one, and even though this sounds hilarious to everyone, you probably got to put Mitch in that trade.
Yeah, for sure. Right? No, I mean he would. He would.
You put Mitch in the trade, but then you're also going to have to throw in some really meaty defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why I like the three trade deal that they were saying that we would get Tua.
But still, you got to get something back.
You're talking about giving up a Roquan Smith, a possible Jalen Johnson.
No, never.
A Cole Kmet, an offensive weapon. Like you're talking about giving up players that you're trying to build with.
Right.
To make this trade happen, because that's all you have.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have the draft capital to entice Houston to go, let's make this deal.
Oh,
exactly.
And that's why I like the three-way draft deal that some people propose, where we get Tua, Deshaun goes to Miami.
No problem with those. No, because I get it. I've read a bunch of those now.
But we wouldn't give up anything.
On all these 3-team deals, like Minnesota's got a 3-team deal.
With
of course, they all do. They all do.
Cousins is going to go here, and then they're going to go here. They're going to do this.
Of course. No, I know. I'm just saying we wouldn't have to give up much. That's the only reason I agree.
I know it's that time of year where everybody does that.
Yeah.
Everybody puts out all their theories and rumors. And let's get realistic for a minute. Let's just brass tacks, baby. Let's just break this down.
For sure.
Look,
most of these trades are going to come down to who's got draft capital.
Oh yeah, I know that.
They can give them up to get in return what they need to make their team better. Yeah. And that's what it's going to come down to.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, you'll see this, and I know we're going to be covering the draft on the day it happens.
I can't wait.
I believe our heads are going to spin because come draft day, you're going to see so many things happen.
I'm already spinning.
Yeah.
Already spinning.
It's like the circus. You're going to look everywhere.
Right.
Because of everything.
For Deshaun's sake, I hope he gets the team he wants. He wants to go to the Jets. He really respects that coach, and I hope that that like Nick said, I hope that the Jets make that package deal that he wants, right? And I hope that that's where he goes, because that is really where his heart is. I mean, obviously he doesn't have a choice, because when it comes down who's gonna really give up whatever they need, but
all that
hopefully the Jets is where he lands. For his sake.
I want to say one thing.
What he wants. That's all.
Reading a lot of this stuff and trying to get as much information as possible. What do you guys think about the fact that if Houston decides, because with hiring the new coach that Houston did and all that, with the new general, with the new management and all that as well, people are really, like, well, we're gonna, I'm positive that we can get Deshaun to be our quarterback, and he's going to stay here, and we're going to work this out, and yada, 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 and yada. And I said, no, I don't think so.
It's not going to happen.
Hey, Nick,
with you guys anymore. He's done.
He's done. That's what I said. He's done.
I
out a year just so he doesn't have to play for them this year.
Time out. Time out. I have to, ladies and gentlemen, I have to shout out my two co-hosts, because they're absolutely amazing. I had a way that I was playing this out in my head, and they're already just segueing. They're getting right into it. That was my next question. Is there any chance? Because I heard what the coach said. The coach was saying, "Hey, as far I came here because of Deshaun."
Right.
But Deshaun's like, "Look, I'm already out of here in my head mentally."
You know what the chances of him staying in Houston are? About as much chance as I have as marrying Tiffany Thiessen at this particular moment in time.
Oh,
That's
Tiffany.
Yes, there is.
Everybody's first crush.
Hey.
Okay, let's just get that out there.
Which
Tiffany,
actually,
go ahead.
Segue. Hey, we have to. We're gonna have a portion for these type of things, but now that you brought her up, R.I.P. Screech.
Yeah.
Just found out that he passed.
Very
sad.
24 years old, very young.
Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah, but yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's slim to no chance that he stays.
He said he didn't care who came, even if one of the best offensive coordinators to play the game came and became the coach. He said even if he still wouldn't stay. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
If he won't even stay for one of the best offensive coordinators right now, make him stay. Like it's
part of it too, because when you say one of the best offensive coordinators, do you not look at Eric Bieniemy and go, "How did this guy not get hired?"
Exactly. Oh, there's a lot of people mad about that.
Super Bowl, but you get allowances to get interviewed at least.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you get chances to have interviews. And I'm saying to myself, are you kidding me?
I agree. Everybody thinks that they failed. That was
because that's somebody that Deshaun.
Now I wonder.
I mean, maybe he could have, even if he says no.
Look, so now look, I'm glad you asked that question, and I definitely want to dive into this more. I wonder though, because we're in the day and age now where the minute you get a little bit of success, a la Kyle Shanahan, a la McVay, the minute you get a little bit of success, then the next thing is get out. You have to move on. The only way your success is measured is with you get another job, a coaching job, this and that. Think about it from your perspective, as if you're a coach and you're on a team that you see is on a rocket ship straight up. And yes, I can get make my offense work somewhere, but I have the opportunity to potentially win a back-to-back Super Bowl against the GOAT then be contenders for the next 5 years, if not a decade. Does that play into it? Like maybe I'm saying, hey, I want to stick around.
And I'm sure you have those guys. And I'm sure if I look back through the annals of time, you have those guys who were lifers, who stayed with the team a long time just because, like you said, they were in a winning situation. But I've got to believe. Why do you get into coaching in the first place?
Yeah.
Because one day you want to be the guy.
You want to be the head
coach. You want to be the guy that's running the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're saying, Sean, and I understand your
now let me say this though. Let me say this, because then I bring up Josh McDaniels. You know what I mean? He left and he went and coached the Broncos.
What, a week? No, I'm kidding. The first time?
yeah. Well, right. I mean, but they beat the Patriots in one of the games.
That's true.
So and then he eventually ended up coming back, and you're going back to Super Bowls and this and this and that. So, Mike, that's why I asked that question, because yes, I agree. He should have been on the short list for everybody. He should have been at the top of everybody's short list.
Absolutely.
But then it makes you wonder. I mean, because you see all of these coaches that were getting interviewed, all these coaches that were getting talked to, and everything, even before technically it was time. I know there's a bunch of coaches that were getting looked at a little earlier. You know what I mean? So it makes you think, I mean, they're already on this rise. Like, they're already making strides and doing big things. So it's kind of like, well, does he stay? Like, maybe he's saying, if I can look, maybe I'll look, but maybe I want to stay.
I don't know. I just feel like from what I've read, though, or like what I've been hearing, is that he wasn't even offered the gig. And that's the problem, right? Isn't that the issue is give him the chance to turn it down, man. Let him say no.
If you knew you had a guy you really wanted as a coach, okay? Remember, because the NFL new season, or the signing, it doesn't start till March anyways.
Right.
That deal between Goff and Stafford will not become official till March.
No, right.
Done deal, but it won't be official So you're going to tell me that you couldn't wait till after the Super Bowl, February 8th, that Monday after, to bring in Eric Bieniemy? Like you
Right.
you had to fill the coaching spot, fine, but you couldn't wait till February 8th when Eric will definitely be free and clear to talk to
Yeah.
whoever
Yeah.
to consider
Exactly.
that guy for a job.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hello.
And who
Right.
knows? Maybe even though Deshaun is hurt, maybe he would have stayed. He says
Well,
no, but you know, I'm not saying that.
Eric
No,
would
he
have been
would
one
have.
guy that maybe would have had at least to consider staying.
Correct.
Like Eric would have reached out to him and said, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about because
Exactly.
that's the thing. There's a respect thing part of this too.
That's
And
why he
Houston
wants to leave.
has really screwed themselves.
Exactly.
Because I'm telling you, I know you're the management. Fine, you're going to make the decisions. Blah blah blah
Mhm.
blah. But your franchise quarterback, all he simply asked for was for you to listen to him
Yes.
and to listen to his suggestions, and you didn't even do that.
Right.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. And he said, "Okay, I see where I stand here. Like you weren't even
Right.
willing to entertain
Exactly.
anything that I said. So yeah, why am I going to keep running around here, finishing 4-12? You know, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm a 25-year-old quarterback in the prime of my life.
Right.
I know my worth. I know what I can do. I know my talent. I know my skill. And if you're not even going to give me the time of day or the respect to even listen to what I have to say, I'd be gone too.
Right.
See ya.
And that's basically
Go
what
on.
I'm saying. And
Yeah.
I have to think, like Nick is right. If you would have considered someone like Eric Bieniemy, that man we know that all these players respect him. And he would 100% would have reached out to Deshaun. And maybe they could have turned it around. I'm not saying he would have stayed. He probably was still feeling a certain way, but at least they would have had the shot, right? They would have had the
Right.
conversation.
Right.
That, I always wanted to hear Chris Berman say again, Eric's sleeping with Bieniemy. That's all I want. That's all I really want out of this whole thing. So that's why I want Eric to get a job somewhere because I want to hear that again. No, but anyways, but yeah, you guys know.
That's funny.
Yo,
Yeah.
so actually I have to shout out my boy Nathan Snell. He's got a show. I'm gonna send you guys the link after the show.
Okay.
Really
All right.
want you guys to take a look at him. A lot of the same type of talk that we're talking. He covers all sports.
Nice.
But I definitely think he watched our show last time and was just so excited and was like, yo, I definitely want to get at, definitely want to talk with you guys. So
Great.
he's got our same kind of fire. He's been actually watching this whole time, and I didn't notice it. And now I'm looking at. He's been commenting on everything about the Deshaun Watson, where he's going, things of that nature. So I just said what's up to him. If you're still watching, Nathan, man, we appreciate it. Just keep tuning in. You know what I mean? And you're going to want to tune into this because this segment is
this is a good one. This is good.
This is going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting off a new segment for the show in the second episode, and it's called Diversity with Delilah. And ladies and gentlemen, I know they're from Chicago, and we're not talking about Halstead and diversity. We're not talking about that. Hey, I've stayed on diversity before.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Hey, shout out to Christina.
That's right, son. Halston and diversity.
No, but people call it diversity. You know that.
Yeah, there's no T. Yeah, diversity. That's right.
So many people call it that, though. So I'm like, I know.
Oh, that's right. There is no T. That's right. Isn't it actually diversity?
It's diversity.
Diversity or something? Okay. Yeah, diversity.
People say diversity too, though, because it's so
funny. This topic is called Diversity with Delilah, where we point out male or female coach or player, past or present, that maybe is maybe less known, maybe that hasn't got the attention. Maybe they were great a while ago and they, we just forgot about them. And we are seeing that it's diversity with Delilah, and Delilah is a Puerto Rican American, right? Yeah. So we do want to reach out and look into maybe the Latino sector, maybe the African American sector, being a Black History Month. Just something a little bit different, something that, you might not have heard of, somebody you might not have heard of, somebody you might not know, and just gives a little background information, a little nice nugget. So Delilah, I'm going to go ahead and go to you. What's up?
Okay. All right. So we're going to go with, all right. So I'm just going to jump off with Jim Plunkett, right? Former NFL quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. He is Hispanic. He's Mexican American, and I know a lot of people don't know that because his last name is Plunkett. But we know what happened, right? There's always sneaky people in throughout different generations in, and so we always end up with like all sorts of last names, right? Anyway, so Plunkett is from New Mexico, and the reason is that I learned that his parents both blind. I didn't even know that.
Oh,
so
wow.
at an early age, he had to be self-sufficient. He had to work really hard and be successful because the whole point of him really trying to be successful so he could take care of his parents.
Yeah.
So that's thing that I actually didn't know about, right? Like his background and him, like trying to get through adversity from the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Also, he was the first minority quarterback to win the Super Bowl, and remains the only Hispanic so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Crushing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez didn't pan out, so.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Buffalo.
He's also the only Hispanic to be named Super Bowl MVP so far. Hopefully that changes because we do have more people going up through the rosters. He did play for Stanford. That's where he won the Heisman, and that's why he was drafted in the first round in 1971. He didn't go to the Raiders right away. He kind of went around a little bit, was with the Patriots. But he went to the Raiders in 1980. In 1980, sorry. He wasn't the starter right away. What happened was that in 1980, the original quarterback, Patriani, I think is his last name, he broke his leg.
Pastorini.
Yeah. He broke his leg. And so this was Plunkett's time to shine. And he took him to the Super Bowl. That's when he took him to Super Bowl 15 and won.
Yes.
So he was the MVP that year. He was the comeback player of the NFL that year, which makes sense because he just, so he won 2 Super Bowls, Super Bowl 15 and 18, sorry.
Yes.
And Super Bowl 15
was terrible.
Yeah. So Super Bowl 15 and 18.
I'm sorry, was that the Redskins he beat in that Super Bowl?
Yeah.
We only scored 9 points in that game. I'm not gonna
Super Bowl 15. Now Super Bowl 15 was interesting is that the Raiders were a wild card team. And so at that time, they were the first wild card team to actually go all the way and win the Super Bowl.
Oh wow.
And so he retired in 1986 with 2 Super Bowl wins under his belt after fighting all these different, things that happened to him, parents being blind. Apparently he had a tumor I didn't know about either. It was benign, but, so all these different things, he's like, I'm going to make this work. And, he did. And now he's all happy, retired in sunny California. Jim Plunkett.
Is Eli Manning.
2-time quarterback, Super Bowl champ, and I'm sorry that one of those teams was the Washington football team.
What's wrong with Heisman can only score 9 points? Huh?
Yeah. And interesting fact about that game. It was in Tampa. The Super Bowl was in Tampa Bay.
You're okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Tampa is already hard for me right now. But fun fact, actually, so Marcus Allen was in that game and rushed for like a then Super Bowl record, 191 yards. At the end of the third quarter, he breaks this long run where he runs over to the left and kind of does a U-ey and comes back and then takes it down the field. My coach, my offensive line coach in high school, played for Washington. And he was in that play.
Wow.
Number 79. His name was Liebenstein. And you'll see Marcus Allen goes over and then kind of does a whirly bird. And you'll see Liebenstein's running after him and then kind of whoop, whoop, whoop. And then he's on the highlight as he's running down the field. And we all ragged him about that. Like, oh, you were there. He said, yeah, he was there in 82 and he was hurt when they won the Super Bowl. And then he was there in 83. And that happened when they lost the Super Bowl. So he said it was still an amazing situation, but it's crazy because that game, I try to bury that deep in the recess of the brain. I don't even want to think about that.
Bring that one up. But, you said diversity. Someone people might have forgotten. I mean, you wouldn't forget him, but I don't think a lot of people remember Jim Plunkett. I don't really do. So
yeah, I forgot that he was a Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Right. See that. Right. See, that's the thing of that, because watching, as a young kid, you had to. It was almost like you had to be a Raider fan if you watched them, because they had the silver and black helmets with the side of the,
I always liked their uniforms, man.
Yep.
I wore Raiders stuff, and I wasn't even a fan, but I liked their uniforms.
John Madden was on the mid-'70s was the coach, and you had the whole thing. It's like, how did you not like the Raiders? Like,
Yeah.
So I remember, watching those kids, or watching as a kid the Raiders playing. Like, oh, I like the Raiders. I'm a Bears fan, obviously, but like you always have like that other team, like you'll root for because you'll see the other team play or something, and you're like, I like the Raiders. Like it's just one of those things. So yeah,
I did. I wore a lot of their stuff too. I was like, I like their uniform.
It looked good, right?
Silver and black, right? Yeah.
Yo, it looked good. Hey, and I always thought that, especially towards the 80s, the Raiders and the Bears kind of had that similar defensive style. You know what I mean? That nasty, like smash mouth in your face. You know what I mean? Like, get that little extra shove in there. Like, I thought that they definitely mesh, but like we talked about last show, one team has a history of having decent quarterbacks, and the other team is the Bears.
Yeah.
Who has struggled.
You don't have to tell me, sir. I've been watching quarterback ineptitude for, well, how old am I? 40. Yeah, 40 something years. Yes.
Telling you.
We don't, we don't do well with the quarterbacks for whatever reason.
No. So cheers to Jim Plunkett.
Hey, here's to you. Here's to you, Jim.
That's right. Enjoy retirement.
And yo, thank you so much, Delilah. And hey, tune in every week, guys. We're gonna have something. It's called Diversity with Delilah, where she just picks out one player, one coach, one personnel, whatever, what have you, that she brings us this information. That was so great because it was so informative. You hit us with so many notes and stats. I absolutely loved it. You go, guys, I cannot express enough how much I love you guys. You guys are kicking butt, man. You guys are dominating. You guys are dominating.
Thank you.
Look,
we love
stay
you.
on, right? To stay on the line of.
I'm
look, all I'll do next show is press record. We'll just go.
There you go. Right. We'll just talk.
Yo, hey, and to stay along the lines of Latino Americans, definitely have to go to topic number 4. Ron Rivera, cancer-free. Let's go. Riverboat. Let's go.
Rivera will always have a special place in my heart, buddy. 85
Mine
Bears.
too. Hello. 85 Bears.
Let's go.
But no, it's great that Ron, because that's the thing, man. And again, not to bring up, but you talked about Dustin Diamond. The poor guy found out he had stage 4 cancer, and right away went into treatment, and it did too much. He couldn't overcome it.
Yeah.
Here's a guy, Ron Rivera, who fought hard. Like, he even was still coaching while he was battling.
Yes, he was.
His cancer. You know what I mean? Like, I know, even though, and again, even though Washington did not have a winning record, they were fighting for a playoff spot the whole time that Ron is going through this, and I think it's just, strong the guy is, how just mentally tough you have to be to go through something like this, honestly.
Yeah.
And still try to be a professional in your chosen career. And your team is in the middle of a dogfight for, a division.
I know, man. I love him.
Everybody was trying to give it up.
Boricua, he's Puerto Rican.
Right. There you go.
Washington won in the end, so there you go.
Right.
Yeah,
and look,
so you really have to admire Ron. You have to just say, hey, man, I'm glad that he is cancer free now. Like, I'm happy for him. And again, Sean, being a Washington fan that you are, I'm sure that you look forward to now, right? We know, display your jersey proudly, my friend. That's fine. But I mean, the fact that Ron now is cancer free, so he's 100% committed to football now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is a guy, like, this is the thing. I don't think people, being in Carolina all those years.
I know.
For Ron, like, I think, a lot of people, I don't think realize just what a good coach this guy is.
Yep.
He dealt with a lot of different things there. You had a young Cam, so trying to push him along and get him to a place where he needed to be. And again, I think we all agree that in the beginning, everybody thought Cam Newton was going to be a star, baby.
It did.
Guy had all the tools. He could do he could make the throws. He could run. He could, everybody looked at Cam as, hey, man, this is a golden goose. You got to ride this guy as long as you can. Again, things happen. You fall out of favor, blah, 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 blah. You get released. Ron goes somewhere else. So, Carolina's doing what they're doing. Fine. They're in a rebuild as well. But, I mean, you have to respect what Ron Rivera has done throughout his coaching career. And I really think that he probably is the perfect coach for Washington at this point.
I think so too.
To rebuild their character, get these guys to really care about playing football and really care just about playing for each other and being a team. And I think that's very important for you guys right now. So I look forward to seeing what your Washington football team does in the next few years.
Let me tell you, I love Ron. Every time when he took us to the Super Bowl, let's be honest, okay? When 2004, that defense. I mean, we love that defense. That was Ron. And so when he left, I was like, good luck. I was a fan for Carolina, not because even the team, but I was like, I want to see Ron do something. And I was intrigued by Cam because it wasn't just his personality, right? Man, his personality.
Yes.
I love his personality. I love his style, his swag. I was like, yes, Cam. Like them outfits.
Best dressed.
Yes.
Best dressed.
I was super excited. Yeah. And then when he went to Washington, I said, okay, let's see what he could do with the Washington football team. So I've always wanted him to be successful and see what he could do as a head coach. So I'm glad he's cancer free, and you're gonna have hopefully he does it again. Hopefully he takes you guys further.
Bet on Riverboat Ron. That's right.
Bet on him. Yeah.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Kudos to him.
Look, and I just wrote down a couple things to talk about my main man, Riverboat Gambler. Okay,
that's right.
First and foremost, he comes into the team, okay, and they're already dealing with the name change. Okay, that's number one. Secondly, he has a stud, a instant Hall of Famer at running back that everybody loves and has to make the decision to cut him after cutting another solid running back in Darius Geis for domestic issues.
Yeah.
You have that. You have him coming into our first game with the late Redskin, late Washington, Dwayne Haskins, now Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you.
That's another
start most of the season with us. You had at halftime, Riverboat Ron is getting IVs in his arm. In his arm to just be able to go out in the second half. I mean, the culture is being changed, but even more than that, like, how can you not just sit there in awe of everything that has happened, even in the division and just with his life? And then it's just like, my God, you're sitting out here and you miss like one or two practices, maybe never missed a game. Was always there to answer questions, do interviews, do whatever he was needed to do. Like, I gotta say, he took a 7-8-1 Panthers team to the playoffs and won a game. He took us to the playoffs with a 7-9 record. You know what I mean? And had us in that game with the fourth string quarterback, a guy that was he put his insurance career on hold to come quarterback at Washington.
Oh, man.
Let's go. Let's go.
Riverboat Ron.
Absolutely.
Riverboat, man.
Gotta gamble sometimes, baby. Gotta gamble.
So
hey, he would have gone for that 4th and 1 if he was the Green Bay Packers coach.
That's right. That's right. He would have.
Because that's what he was known for. He takes that. That's what that's how he got his name.
And he said that in interviews when they questioned him in interviews, like, well, why did you make these decisions? Why did you go and this and that? He said, I'm trying to tell these guys, look, we're here. I'm putting you in these positions to win the game.
Right.
If you want to sit here and be here, we're about winning.
Right.
So, hey, much respect to him. It's definitely, I will tell you, from being a Washington fan, there's definitely mixed emotions, and it's really weird because of all that stuff that I just read you would obviously be like, oh my goodness, yeah, well, how could I root against this guy? But there's so many people in Washington like, oh, Ron has a history. He's terrible, and there's a blah 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 blah. Hey, to each his own.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, to each his own. You can have your opinion. I personally love him. I hope the best. I'm so glad he's cancer free. Definitely rang the bell and everything. So I'm so happy for him. But at the same time, you know, I'm also a Washington fan, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, you know, oh, here we go, Super Bowl. Let's, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of still like we still got a whole bunch of mess. We still got, you know, got to figure out our quarterback, got to figure out the offense, the scheme, the running, the everything. So it's a great start.
I got to give it to your team. One-legged quarterback, coach with cancer, but y'all made it happen. Like, you know, somehow.
I don't know. I don't know how we did it. But we did. And I hate to go from such a positive topic to talk about this other jerk. I don't even care. He's a jerk. Chad Wheeler, ladies and gentlemen. If you have not heard, I'm just going to put the name up. We'll discuss what he did. Topic number 5 is Chad Wheeler. If you have not heard, offensive lineman, right?
Yeah.
6'7", over 300 pounds. Apparently felt like a former
member of the Seattle Seahawks, and hopefully former member of the NFL.
Hopefully former member of society.
Well,
you know, because he's in prison or something like that. And I, you know, if for those of you that don't know, he had a girlfriend. Apparently, if you guys know more details.
Well, I read the story this morning because I wanted to make sure I had the facts right before I said anything. Yeah. And if you read the description of what he did to that poor girl, it's horrific. She had red marks on her neck from where he had grabbed her. No. She was bleeding when the cops got there. She was literally still bleeding. Her left arm, I think it was her left arm, was just broken. Her face just looked terrible. Yeah. He literally did a number on this young lady. And, you know, when you see that sort of thing, or just to hear that kind of thing, like that just, there's no words, man. There really isn't. Like, you know, and I understand that, you know, once something like that happens and then you start, you know, talking about redemption and like him saying that, you know, he was really sorry for what happened because he had a manic episode and he was diagnosed a couple of years back with bipolar and that sort of thing. And then, you know, the young lady was interviewed as well. And she was like, well, he hadn't been taking his medication lately and that sort of thing. And it's like, okay, so that to me, and again, this is me. So if people disagree, that's totally fine.
Right.
The fact is, if you know you have something like this, if you know you're bipolar, or if you are diagnosed with a serious mental illness, and you're taking something forward to balance you out and to help you, if you stop taking it and then do something horrible, it's very hard for me to feel sorry for you. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like you had a chance, or you had the opportunity to make this better by doing whatever the doctors or the professionals told you. And obviously they gave you a medication for you to take to kind of balance yourself out. So if all of a sudden you decide to stop taking it and then you go off the rails and do something, it's really hard to get my sympathy. I'm sorry.
It is. And I also put a stigma on the opposite because I actually do know people who have bipolar disorder. I do know people who have, and the fact is that they hate these kinds of stories because it's actually the opposite. When you read statistics, people with mental disorders are actually the recipients of abuse more times than not. Right. And so when they see these kind of things, they feel like they're using it as an excuse to excuse a scumbag.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what you see is actually people who are part of a lot of these communities say, no, don't put his mental illness, all these things out there because you're using that to excuse and scapegoat what he did to this young lady. And so you do see a little pushback from a lot of the mental health communities because they're like, don't use this man as an excuse for what he did to that young lady. So they want to make sure that things are said the right way. because you also don't want that stigma, because I do know a lot of people who have bipolar disorder and they don't beat the crap out of their, they do not fly off the handle and beat the crud out of someone almost to death.
Exactly.
So
here's my thing, and this is the most disturbing part of all of this, Delilah. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine, please.
What he said to her after the second time she woke up, and he said to her, "I'm surprised you're still alive."
Yeah,
like, how
exactly.
do you say that to another human being? So you were conscious enough to know that you did a number on this girl, that you would say to her, "I'm surprised you're still alive." No,
that
you're
to me,
and you deserve whatever you get.
He was of sound mind. That right there, that's of sound mind.
That was my thing. It's hard for me to get sympathy for you with you saying that you were off your medication, but you tell someone, "Oh, I'm surprised you're still alive."
He knew what he was doing.
Right. You know exactly.
And that's how we know that what they're doing is trying to mount his defense in the public eye and also into the courtroom. But it's like, no, absolutely not. That's inexcusable. And so then that brings up the conversation of the NFL and their history of, have they gotten better? Sure. But they definitely have room they need a lot. They need to improve a lot in terms of what are they going to do with ensuring that they are showing people, because football's supposed to be a family sport, right? People are supposed to enjoy it as a family. But if that's what you're putting yourself out there, but then you're not actually going to penalize players who and you have evidence, right? This, we're not talking about hearsay and all that. This is absolute documented, and so, action needs to be swifter, in my opinion. Kudos to Seattle for letting him go. He should not be a member of the NFL, in my opinion. Just like Nick said, he's in jail and he should rot there for as long as whatever they give him. And we got to do better, with players and being consistent.
Yeah.
Okay, we need
absolutely
consistency of punishment.
What gets me too is that a lot of times it's always when you get caught, when there's tangible proof that something happened. That's when it's, "Oh, well, I'm really sorry, I'm remorseful." It's like, well, you weren't sorry when you were doing it, obviously.
There we go.
But you got caught, so now you have to say, Ray Rice, the video in the elevator with his girlfriend.
Right.
Well, you probably would have got away with that had there not been a video in the elevator of you smacking her around.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing. We don't know all of the cases that have happened. We don't, because you got to even just like with a lot of the stuff with police, it was just now where we're starting to get people with cameras that are filming all these events and all these things.
Exactly. Same thing.
So it's more open now to do it, but it's awful, because I think, and what I'm going to is what I was talking to you guys about before the show, is that I think part of the problem is the NFL. Part of the problem is the fans, because what we've done is we've put a tag on.
We're part of the problem, and I'm going to say it. We're 100% part of the problem.
If they're better, we don't care. We'll let them go. I got Kareem Hunt, I got to say. I got to look at Tyreek Hill before he came out. Joe Mixon, just last year, he had stuff he was dealing with. Now, all three of these, I say these names because all three of these were in the spotlight. All three of these were legit guys. Tyreek Hill's playing for the Super Bowl.
That's right. He's playing for a championship on Sunday.
Right. And I know very, very few of his fans, very few Chiefs fans will acknowledge that fact that Tyreek Hill did do that. A lot of these guys did these things, and now we're getting to the point, and this is why I was bringing up video. Now we're getting to the point that even though it's being recorded, even though we have the visual, this is what's right in front of your face, still people are trying to justify.
Yeah.
And still people are trying to make excuses well, maybe this was what it was, or maybe that. And I'm like, I'm seeing this right. I just like I see my hands. I saw what happened. That was what was so damning about the Ray Rice thing, because you saw it. You saw him hit her. You saw him drag her out. And it was so egregious that you couldn't go elsewhere. You couldn't look away because it was just right there. And I think the fact that honestly, first and foremost about the Chad Wheeler, I think the fact that it was he said versus she said.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, they found her in that position, yes, and we can he's already admitted that, we get that. But it was a lot of, there was no camera, there was no video, there was no, you know what I mean? So that leads people to open up the question, to play devil's advocate, like, well, what were you doing to get him in this mood? Or what was, and I hate that. I hate that you even attempt to go that way with these. And now, Delilah, I know you were talking, we were looking about the Des Bryant comments.
Yes.
How there is a difference.
There is a difference about media coverage, right? First of all, it was I posted the story to Let's Talk Football, and I have to go back and see. But one of our group members posted how the first time it was mentioned, it was like they didn't even talk about it. Like when they mentioned Seattle, it had nothing even to do with the fact that their lineman just got arrested for almost killing his girlfriend. It was like something like, oh, what's gonna happen next? It wasn't even on ESPN's radar. It wasn't until people were like, wait a minute, what are you doing? Like, people were tweeting at the media and going like, why are you not talking about this, right? And there is a difference in the media coverage. So I will read out Des Bryant's tweets, and he said, which, Chad Wheeler, if I ever run across you, we are going toe-to-toe because I wouldn't mind making the news breaking something across your effing head, then ask you, are you still alive, right? Same thing what Nick said, right? One thing, the media don't mind destroying the black athletes without the facts, right? And so that's kind of how he closes off like his tweet. And the fact is that media coverage is different.
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I'm saying that
absolutely.
I think anybody who puts their hand like that on their spouse or girlfriend deserves to go to jail.
Right.
100%.
Right.
However, the way you cover things and the way the NFL and teams react and how they divvy out punishment, it needs to be equal.
Thank you.
Which just kind of goes back to what we're saying when we talk about other situations outside of, like justice system in general.
Right.
But anyway, that's a whole other thing.
No,
that's an important point to bring up, because if you guys remember, and I think I've got this right. The NFL was waiting to see the tape.
Yes.
Because they were like, well, I need proof that Ray Rice did this. I can't just go on, oh, well, they said he did it, but I don't know that. I wasn't there. And I got to know. The NFL was not willing to do anything to Ray Rice.
Exactly.
Because probably of who he was and his stature in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
Until they had no choice. But when you watch that tape, you go, oh, my God, this guy beat the crap out of anything he said. He drags her out of the elevator.
But they still mentioned it. They still said, wait a minute, you can't play any games right now, right? Because it was still under investigation. Yeah. So it's like, even with the tape, they were like, whoa, dude, like, you can't play right now, right? Like, there's a whole, like, and all the media knew about it because people were talking about, like, oh, his girlfriend, and so even before the tape, people were talking about it. The media was covering it. And so, like, so what Des Bryant is saying is, oftentimes, right, we saw like how the coverage is black and white, right? And so
I just wanted to point out that the NFL has long really screwed a lot of this stuff up.
100%.
And now it's become that thing where, like you said, you have to be able to look at this and go, okay, well, they because after the Ray Rice thing, they changed their policy.
They did, correct.
They became stricter, and then less than a week later, Ray McDonald, you'll remember, had a domestic violence charge for beating up his girlfriend. That kind of went through. He got, boom, they cut. He was cut by.
Bears cut Brandon Marshall. Remember Brandon Marshall? They cut him because he beat up his girlfriend.
Yeah. But which is funny because then the Bears signed Ray McDonald, and then 2 months later, when he gets arrested again, then they cut him. And it was like, okay, you're right. This guy is bad. Let's not bring him in. So we definitely got to get rid of him. We don't want that on us.
Exactly.
We've had many examples. Like I said, Adrian Peterson was 6 games in 2014 for apparently hitting his child.
Yeah.
That was a thing. Greg Hardy is a big one because Greg Hardy never played in the league again after that. Yeah. They reduced his sentence from 10 games to 4. And then after that year, he went to UFC and he's doing whatever now. Greg Hardy, Josh Brown was a kicker who got, kicking or punching around his girlfriend or wife at the time. They gave him 1 game after investigation. They gave him 6 additional games. The next year, he was out of football.
Right.
So, a lot of these, obviously there's examples of guys who have stuck around. Zeke Elliott served his 6 games and still playing. Reuben Foster was an example of a guy who caught on with another team, claimed by the Washington football team that John after his situations, as they were. So you look at this stuff, and that's what. Here's my thing too: how prevalent this has been in the last 10 years.
Yes,
in the NFL with all these cases, because you can even look up players who've been arrested for whatever.
Yeah,
there really is. I think now more than ever, honestly, the NFL has to really take a long, hard look at itself and say, what can we do? And especially, again, this could be a whole other topic for another show as well. But, we live in a time and a culture. It's me too. And
it is me too.
You have to be willing to understand why this is wrong, to understand why this is important, one, to discuss, and one, to change the way that you handle these sorts of things.
Yes.
And 3, most importantly, above all else, you prevent these poor young ladies from living their lives in fear or being stressed with the rest of their lives. And, this affects their other relationships that they could have, because all they, that sticks with you.
Yeah.
If somebody beats you within an inch of your life and tells you, "Oh, I'm surprised you're still alive."
Right.
I don't know how I'd be.
That sticks.
I would need some help. Like,
that's, yeah. So that definitely hits
a lot of work that the NFL has to do, I think, in this regard.
And then I agree with John. We, us as fans, we have to do better.
Be better about that.
We have
right
to.
now.
Absolutely.
We are doing better in. It's not great, but we are doing better in cases of diversity and race relations. Right? It's not perfect. My God, it's not perfect in the NFL, but it's better than what it was. And they, at least they're trying on paper, right, to bring more diversity. And And so when we talk about diversity, it's not just black and white diversity. It has to do with women's issues, right? LGBTQ issues. And I think when people think diversity, I always think about race and ethnicity, which is important, but that's not the only diversity people are talking about, right? Now we have women in the NFL too. So if there's no way you can have women coaches and women referees and then be okay with your players turning around beating the crap out of their girlfriends and wives.
Absolutely.
Right?
And see, that's how you know where the progress is made, because one day, instead of saying, "Hey, this is the first female referee to, umpire a Super Bowl," you can simply say, "Here's the crew for the Super Bowl."
Exactly.
And there's a couple ladies on it.
Exactly.
You don't have to say, "This is the first lady to do this. This is the first lady head coach, or this is the first."
Exactly.
So, in that regard, there's a long way to go.
And
that's
we gotta normalize it.
Exactly. When it becomes something that like you said, that just is, then you take that stigma away of, "Oh, this is the first person to do it," or this,
So
it just becomes part of the norm. And that's
NFL, handle your domestic violence problem because it's prevalent, it's bad.
Yes. Right.
And
fans, we need to stop wearing those jerseys.
Right.
I'm not saying to drop your team. I get it. But I need you to really think about,
don't buy the jersey.
Yes.
Right. Don't buy the
There's ways in which things can be done that you still support your team and drop the asshole that almost killed
exactly. Oh, you're right.
Right. And
100%.
same thing with the teams. You don't have to continue with these players, especially now that we see that they're replaceable in other aspects, right? So
you should be replaceable in the NFL.
They should be.
So
be above everybody else.
But look, but we cannot overlook that this is not just an NFL problem.
True.
The modern misconception is these guys get to the league, they get the money, and now all of a sudden they're acting this type of way.
College.
Right. Probably been doing this secretly for years.
And more than that. And look, I'll tell you, I played football, and I wasn't anything major, but I strung together a couple good games my sophomore year. My coach then took me out of class, had me watching film. I was on Front Street, I was doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Because I was a little bit good.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, once I got hurt, that all went away. Then I had to go back and make up all that work.
Why don't you go back to class for a while? That's
right. But But that protection, right? That
But it's
culture
the
of
truth.
protecting and
It's the truth. Those guys, and all the way down to high school. I don't even want to go to Pop Warner. There is some in some Pop Warner, but really definitely in high schools where it starts, and then college. You got these guys, if they're all state, all met, all world, all, you know what I mean?
Somewhere along the way, those young men were led to believe that that's okay.
That they can get away with anything.
Exactly.
Think about this. You're not born wanting to beat up women.
Yeah.
You're not born wanting
absolutely
to hate
not.
people or hate a race.
100%.
That's taught to you.
I agree.
So at some point, these
100%.
young men were taught that this is okay or this is acceptable behavior. You're going to be all right, son. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. You have to nip this. It goes on.
It does. Again, I know. We ran it off forever. But you're right.
No,
but you're right, though.
You're right. Nick, you're right. You're absolutely right.
At some point, these young men were taught that this is okay, and you're going to be okay. You know, this is not a big deal.
We're going to make it go away.
Yeah, and you'll be okay.
We're going to pay people off.
As long as you run the football, or as long as you can intercept the football, or you can throw the football, we're going to take care of you, son. Here you go.
Right. We're gonna make it go away. We're gonna quiet it. We gotta pay people off. If we gotta do this, we gotta do that.
There, you can say it's not there, but that's the ugly truth. This was taught to them at a younger age.
Right.
This is acceptable. This is okay.
Absolutely.
And it's not.
And it carries over.
Right, it does. And the misconception is that it only affects these players as they go through. But Nick, you made a great point that it also creates now a demographic of women that are sitting here getting beat down. That they don't trust them. They don't believe in them.
Relationships because they're not going to know how.
Exactly.
They're waiting for this probably the next guy to hit them.
Right.
And, they're scared. They're not. And that's no way. You guys, that's no way to be in a relationship.
Right. So guys, it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing, and it doesn't just apply to football. Let's put that out there. Yeah. Because before
life, you see this all the time in our neighborhoods and in our schools, and in anywhere you go, your jobs, you got coworkers who you hear stuff about, or it's everywhere. It's
everywhere.
And
And guys, this is why. And I coach. I used to coach for 10 years. I used to coach like little league right before high school. And this is what I always believed, that you cannot coach a player until you've coached the person. You know what I mean? That's why you have these guys that have titles of being uncoachable or unable to be worked with and things like that, because you have to coach that person. Correct. Because the X's and O's, you can teach that.
Yeah.
That stuff, you can do that stuff. But if that person is not right, if that person is not on the up and up, or not good mentally, him getting better and getting more attention and more money is not going to help.
No,
it's not going to help it at all. So that, and again, this is just an awful situation. He, like you guys said, he got cut. They cut him. Hopefully he does jail time and all this, because, and I don't want to say hopefully, but at the same time, yes, that hopefully, you know what I'm saying? I can't.
Yeah, because we don't know if he will be given sentence, right? That's the whole thing. We don't know. He should.
Let's be honest, though. If this were you or I, Sean, and we beat our girlfriend to within an inch of her life, I'd be sitting in a jail cell right now, not even having this conversation with anybody.
I mean, it's
and look, and I know there's been all these marches and protests and things like that, but I don't think I would have even made it to the jail cell.
You might not have. No, you might not have. It's not funny, but it's very true.
No, but it's true.
Let's just be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no,
so,
you're right.
Hey, we don't meet. We're not trying to end this thing on a sour note, but it's definitely positive. But it definitely had to be talked about, because
for sure,
it's a part of life and it's the part of the game.
You can't ignore it.
Yeah, you cannot ignore it. It's a big part of the game. And Delilah, I gotta shout you out, because we had this conversation when and guys, we talk all the time. These guys are now my friends. I have friends. I was telling Kat, I have 2 friends. But we talk about.
I only have one now. I don't think Delilah's really my friend anymore, but that's okay. Delilah's my girl. No, believe me, Delilah. Quick story. I have to tell this since we're talking about Delilah. I knew Delilah was my girl when her and I would sit there at the Packer bar watching the Bears. Like watching Bears Packers. and her and I were the only two Bears fans there in a Packer bar, just trying our best to not be, totally, affected by the obnoxiousness of the Packer fans and all their antics. And it was just literally just me and Delilah in the corner rooting for the Bears.
Yeah.
So I knew that was my girl. I'm like, I love this girl. This is phenomenal.
Yes. In enemy territory.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it's brutal. Ask her.
I love it.
Brutal.
Outnumbered.
I've been there. I've been there.
Like, come on.
Oh, man.
Brutal.
Oh, man. But yeah, so, hey, absolutely great episode, guys. Absolutely love you guys. Like I said, guys, tune in next week. We're going to have a lot more information. I definitely want to dive in to that Eric Bieniemy conversation.
Sure. Hopefully we'll have more trades to talk about. Let's get some stuff going.
Right. We'll definitely be able to talk about the Super Bowl. Hopefully.
Maybe Deshaun falls before then. Who knows? Maybe that second domino will tip before our next show, and Deshaun will be on his way.
I may even have a haircut by next show. You never know.
Hey, I might take care of this now. I don't know.
Like, look at this thing. Oh,
maybe we'll know where he's going next. Maybe we'll know where Deshaun will be
next. I won't
next.
have a beard next Monday. Who knows?
Who knows? See, you got to tune in to find out. Tune in to find out. All right, man.
Woo, Super Bowl week. Yeah.
Super Bowl week. Here we go.
Since we're doing Super Bowl week, what is your guys' favorite Super Bowl snack? Food you have to have at a Super Bowl party or whatever, What's food you got to have? I have 3, but go ahead. I'm willing to listen to you guys.
I'll go with I gotta have my shrimp. I'm a shrimp guy.
Shrimp. I don't
got my shrimp. And then and this is odd. I also go shrimp, and then I go with Fritos.
Fritos.
Yeah.
Wait, like regular Fritos?
Not or chili.
Regular.
Traditional Fritos? Wow.
Fritos,
We're like traditional Fritos. Yeah. Oh my God.
I liked it when I was a kid, and it just kept going.
The Fritos aren't bad, let me tell you.
I like the flavored Fritos, man. The original Fritos.
Fritos are so good. Tyler, what do you got? What's your favorite Super Bowl food?
I gotta do my wings. I gotta do my wings for sure.
Definitely.
Beer and wings. Those are my go-to, and nachos. Beers.
Nachos are number 1, baby. Gotta have the nachos.
Nachos, beer, and wings.
But gotta have the nachos, baby.
Those are my 3 top. The top 3's gotta be wings, beer, and nachos.
I'm a wings. I'm a nachos, wings, and I gotta have sub. Sub sandwiches are like my thing.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could eat a sandwich every day of the week with no problem.
I like that.
Give me some ham, salami, whatever, mayonnaise, mustard, throw it all on there. I'm a sandwich guy.
There we go. I see you. Okay.
I'm there.
Oh, vet. Yeah, I like that. Hey, guys, enjoy. I hope you guys enjoy the Super Bowl. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah. It's a shame we can't watch together, but maybe one year we will.
Hey, look, we're getting off the ground. We're already working out getting together for the draft.
Guys, while I'm watching,
right. I'll be messaging you guys. You already know that.
So. We all have phones. I'm sure we'll be messaging each other during the game.
Right.
The goat versus baby goat. Here we go.
Let's go.
There it is.
All right. So real quick, we're out of here, guys. I'm Sean Spencer. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm pointing. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, you're good. You're good. I'm pointing right at you.
I'm Nick Rosario. And you are
all the way over.
Delilah Crespo.
I love the way. Did you catch it? Delilah Crespo.
Like, we gotta roll the
That's salt on it.
Sazon.
Delilah Crespo.
Put sazon on it.
Yes.
Baby, throw the flavor.
All right, guys. Hey, and this has been a Let's Talk Football, the Round Table, episode 2. Join us next week as we come with more news and notes. Oh, I'm excited.
The whole winner.
Let's go. All right, exciting stuff. Have a good week, everybody.
See ya.
Everyone. Peace.
Enjoy Super Bowl.